Hello, in this video I'm going to be giving you an introduction into this topic called as EBIT to EPS analysis. I'm going to spend the first few minutes in talking to you about the big picture, and when I say the big picture, what I mean is I'm going to be telling you how this topic fits into the scope of this function called as financial management. For this purpose, I'm going to be splitting this function of financial management into three parts, and the rationale behind my doing that would be the three decisions which would be linked with financial management. We know that there are three important decisions linked to the scope of financial management. One, we call as financing decisions. Number two, investment decisions. And number three, dividend decisions. So these are the three important decisions linked with the function of financial management. Financing decisions are all about where to raise finance or money. Investment decisions is all about how to effectively utilize that finance raised. In other words, where do I invest that finance raised? And dividend decisions are regarding whether or not I should be paying dividends to my equity shareholders. And if I decide I need to pay, how much of dividends should I pay? So that's what we look into when we talk about dividend decisions. So this discussion that we are now going to have, called as EBIT to EPS analysis, I'm going to place that in this bucket called as financing decisions. So this topic of discussion, EBIT to EPS analysis, is going to be in relation to where a firm, a company has to raise finance, or how should a firm raise finance, and from what source or from what sources and what proportion should finance be raised. So that is what we are going to be mainly discussing about in this topic called as EBIT to EPS analysis. So this is the big picture. So in this discussion we understand where this topic fits in the entire scope of financial management. Now, the next point I want to tell you is, if you look into the ICAI study material, you will not be able to see a separate chapter titled as EBIT to EPS analysis. Um, this is mainly because in the ICAI study material, you have this topic inside another chapter. So in the material, in the institute material, you have a topic called as capital structure theories, and within this chapter called as capital structure, you have EBIT to EPS analysis falling there. But if that is the case, why am I choosing to discuss this topic separately? This is for the only reason that, in my opinion, this is a very important topic from the examination perspective. As far as I've seen the past examination question papers, I've seen this topic getting regularly tested in the exam in the form of 5-mark questions and also 10-mark questions, at least as far as I've seen the new syllabus question papers. I've seen this come as 5-mark and 10-mark questions. And when I say 5-mark questions, what I actually mean is that they do come in the compulsory question. So from the examination perspective, this is a very important topic, and I want to draw the attention of students to this topic. So I want to discuss this separately rather than have this as one small area within a bigger topic. So that's the reason I choose to discuss this separately. But if you feel you're not able to see this in the ICA study material as a separate chapter, don't worry. Please take capital structure chapter, and you will be able to find this there. So this is the introductory part about this topic of EBIT to EPS analysis, the big picture, and what you need to note about that from the study material point of view. Now, let's get into understanding what this topic is all about. What is this EBIT to EPS analysis? Now, let us say there is a certain project. There is a certain project, and this project requires investment. This project requires investment, and now when you say it requires investment, what you actually mean is it requires money, it requires finance. Now here is the question: where do I raise that finance that needs to be invested in this project? But the question before that is, should I invest in this project at all? So that is a scope for discussion in a separate area called as investment decisions, where you look into business projects and you decide for yourself if investment is required at all in that specific project. So the moment I tell here that there is a project and we are going to be investing in that, probably I understand that an investment decision would have already been taken and the project would have been classified as a good project for investment, and that's why it's even here. But having decided that this project is a good one for investment, the next question is, where do I get money for that? How do I raise finance for that? So the question that we are trying to answer now is, how do I raise finance? Now, it is only in this context that we are going to be discussing this topic of EBIT to EPS analysis. Now, when I ask this question, how do I raise finance? What I need to immediately understand is there are multiple sources of finance. There are multiple sources of finance. So this is why this question itself arises. If there is only going to be one source of finance, there is no decision that needs to be taken. That is the only source that needs to be tapped. But what is the case is that you have multiple sources of finance, and when there are multiple sources, I need to take a decision which source I should raise finance from, or which sources I should raise finance from in what proportion. So that is very important. So I am trying to answer this question right now. So that is why I would in fact say that this topic comes under financing decisions. For me to answer this question, there are probably a lot of considerations that I need to look into. One of the things that I'm going to do to seek an answer to this question is what we call as an analysis, and this analysis is called as EBIT to EPS analysis. So one of the ways in which I try to seek an answer is by doing this analysis, which is called as EBIT to EPS analysis. So let us take this example a little further. But before I do that, we need to understand how this analysis is going to help us in answering that question. That question was, where do I raise finance? Now, and we said one of the ways in which we are going to try to seek an answer to that is by doing this EBIT to EPS analysis. I'm first going to address how I think this analysis is going to help us seek an answer to that. Now, let us see what this project could do to us. There is a project, and we said we require investment in that project. Now, this project could mean business. When you invest in this project, it could mean business to us. So, I would say invest in this project, and this project could lead to business. And when I say business, what I actually mean is sales. So I could get some additional sales by doing this business. And when I get sales, obviously the sales is going to translate to what we call as operating profits. So from sales, I come to the next level, which is called as operating profits, and this operating profits is what I also call as EBIT. So I'm going to invest in a project. That project is going to lead to business. And when I say business, what I mean is it's going to give me sales, and this sales is going to translate to operating profits. The first point I want to be very clear about here is that what is important to generate this operating profits is the project. So indirectly I can see the project leading to operating profits. So what is important to generate this operating profits is the project, and basically when I say project, I mean the investment in the project. So for my operating profits, I actually don't care how I finance the project. In other words, let's probably say I require a 100 crore investment in this project. Let's say I require 100 crore investment in this project. Now, how I get this 100 crores is irrelevant. The only point is I need to be having 100 crores to invest in this project to get the operating profits. So my discussion till the operating profits is not going to look into where I raised this finance. Have I raised it? Have I invested it? Then I probably will be eligible for the operating profits that I'm going to get by investing in this project. But once I get operating profits, how is it going to translate into the further levels of profit? That's going to be the main scope of discussion. So till EBIT, right? I can say from sales to EBIT, that is sales to operating profit. Everything is to do with the business operations. From sales to EBIT, everything is to do with the business operations. So since everything is just to do with the business operations, I am not really bothered about how I am raising finance, whether I got this entire 100 crores as a bank loan or whether I put in my own money. I don't really bother, because from sales to business operations, the financing part is irrelevant for discussion. But after getting operating profits, how is it going to be translating into further levels of profits? That is where this EBIT to EPS analysis is going to help. So this operating profits is eventually going to give me what I call as EPS, earnings per share. This operating profits is eventually going to give me EPS. So look at this. Sales is going to give me operating profits. Operating profits is going to give me EPS. When I talk about sales to operating profits, this entire area is linked only with my business operations. But when I talk about operating profits to EPS, this area, this is a very, very important area. This area is what is linked with financing decisions. This area is going to be linked with financing decisions. So when I talk about getting an EPS, for me, it is very relevant to discuss about what source of finance I'm going to be using for this investment, or what sources I'm going to be using in what proportion. So this is the area where financing decision is important. That is why this topic itself is titled as EBIT to EPS analysis. So what happens before EBIT, all this is irrelevant. What is going to happen from EBIT to EPS is only very important. So we are going to say, um, let's take an example. This 100 crores of investment that is required for the purpose of our project, let's say we have three choices. We have three choices for investment. Choice one is to get it 100% with your own money, 100% equity. Probably you have retained earnings which you can use, or probably you want, as a company, you're planning to go and issue shares and get the 100% of this money. Whatever it is, choice one is 100% equity. And choice two is 50% equity and 50% debt. So 50% of the finance you probably tap it in the form of equity, and the balance 50 you take a bank loan. And you have choice 3, where I would say it is 100% debt. So fund the entire 100 crores through a bank loan. This is the third choice. I want to be very clear. These three choices are just three examples that I'm taking for the purpose of our discussion now. There could be many more choices. You could have n number of choices with different combinations, but I'm just looking at three choices right now for our discussion. Now, whatever is this choice, our EBIT is going to be unaffected, because EBIT is a number that's a result of business operations. But we are going to observe that depending on the choice that we take here, choice 1, 2 or 3, the EPS is going to be different. I would call EPS 1, EPS 2 and EPS 3. EPS 1 means EPS related to choice 1, and EPS 2 is EPS related to choice 2, and EPS 3 is EPS related to choice 3. So we are going to observe that though the EBIT is going to remain the same regardless of the choice that you are going to adopt here, the EPS is definitely going to change. And we are going to look into taking a decision about choice 1, choice 2 or choice 3 looking at EPS. In this discussion, we are going to be taking a decision looking at EPS. Now the next question is, why should I look at the EPS and take a decision? What is the logic behind looking at the EPS and taking a decision? The answer is very simple. Now EPS is a number that is belonging to shareholder. It belongs to shareholder. So for every one share that a shareholder has, how much of earnings is he eligible to take? How much of earnings is he eligible to get? How much of earnings is he eligible to claim for every one share that he holds? That is what is called as EPS. So, higher the earnings that we have, the better it is for the shareholder. And shareholders' happiness or shareholders' wealth maximization is the fundamental goal of any company. Shareholders are the ultimate stakeholders in any company. So maximizing their wealth is the way in which you could keep the ultimate stakeholders happy. And that's why the goal of any organization, any company is shareholders wealth maximization. So any activity that the company pursues is supposed to lead to this ultimate goal of shareholders wealth maximization. And one of the ways in which the shareholders wealth can be maximized is by having the earnings per share increase, by having the shareholders be able to claim more earnings for holding one share, right? If the earnings per share was 2 rupees and that becomes 3 rupees, for holding just one share, the shareholder is now having the right to claim 3 rupees of earnings, and that is going to be one way in which we will be able to increase the wealth of a shareholder. So shareholders wealth maximization being the primary goal, it is natural for us to look at the impact of anything on the EPS. So there is the project. The project is going to give us some operating profits. Whatever source of finance you adapt, the operating profits are going to same. But when we know that the impact on the EPS is going to be different, obviously, if I'm talking about shareholders' wealth maximization, I am likely to go for that source of finance which gives me the highest EPS. For the same project, same amount of investment, assuming that all the three choices are possible for me, if one choice is going to give me the highest EPS compared to is going to give me the highest EPS, and in comparison to the other two, the number in EPS is going to be high. Obviously, that's what I'm going to prefer if I feel that I should keep my shareholders happy. So that is exactly the reason why we do this analysis called as EBIT to EPS. So what's again important, let me again repeat here, is where do I start and where do I end my analysis? I start at EBIT and I end at EPS. The logic for both is very important. The reason why I start at EBIT and I don't start at any level before that is because I know whatever is the source of financing, whatever is the choice I'm going to exercise, EBIT is just going to be the same. So when there are 4 choices or 3 choices or 5 choices and they're going to give me the same EBIT, then I don't really think we should look at what's going to happen before that EBIT, because whatever is the case, it's going to be the same EBIT. So that's the reason why this is the starting point. Why is EPS the ending point? Because of shareholders' wealth maximization, and the higher the EPS, the better it is for the shareholders. So you're starting somewhere, this is the starting point, this is the destination, you're traveling from one point to another, and hence the word to. So this is the logic behind EBIT to EPS analysis. So with this discussion, you should be able to think in your mind how you are likely to proceed with this analysis. You would be starting with EBIT for several choices, right? There are going to be several choices of financing available. You're going to be looking at the EBIT you're going to get, and for every choice from the EBIT you're going to travel to the EPS considering the facts of that choice, and whichever choice gives you the highest EPS, that is exactly what we are going to be pursuing. So this is how we are likely to proceed in this analysis, which is called as EBIT to EPS analysis. What is very important to be understood here is EBIT to EPS analysis is one way in which you look into the finance, one way in which you look at financing decisions. I would not call this as the only way of looking at financing decisions for one simple reason. There are a lot of considerations that need to be looked into together and not in isolation. For example, let us say in this simple example, we have 3 choices. Let us say that after doing this entire analysis, third choice seems to be the best choice. That means this analysis is telling us take entire money in the form of debt. That is going to be the best for you. Let us say this is the outcome of this analysis. Now, if I need to strictly follow the EBIT to EPS analysis prescription, I am going to be going for choice 3. But if I go for choice 3, there are other factors that I need to look into. 100% debt is a risky proposition. Now, debt is a source of finance where the company needs to make some obligated payments. The company needs to make some contractual payments. It is obligated to make some contractual payments regardless of the business happening or not happening. Now, I can't tell my debt providers, look, I won't pay you interest because this year my business did not do well. Let me pay you let me pay you the dues of this year, the next year, hoping that the next year business will do well. That is something that I can't tell my debt providers, whether I do good business or whether I don't do good business, or even if I don't do business at all, I need to be paying what I need to pay to the debt providers. So from that perspective, debt is a source of finance that comes with zero flexibility. So anything that has zero flexibility has a lot of risk associated with it. So from the company's standpoint, if you look at debt financing, it's a risky source. Ends up that in our analysis, choice 3 seems to be the best. Now, if I strictly go with EBIT to EPS analysis, I'm going to be assuming a lot of risk in doing so. Now, are my shareholders happy to take so much of risk? Probably they might say, well, EBIT to EPS analysis gives me the highest, asks me to pick choice 3 and that gives the highest EPS, but the shareholders could feel, let me go with choice 2, which gives me a little lesser EPS, but the risk I take is also lesser. That is something shareholders might feel. So what I want to convey in this point is that EBIT to EPS analysis is one way of looking at things, and I would not call this to be the only way of looking into things. We need to look into several factors and together we need to take a decision. But in our course of study, we try to look at each one of these considerations and try to understand the concepts around that. So this is an important point regarding this analysis. So in this video, what have we seen? A quick summary. We have seen where this topic area fits into the big picture. We have made an observation that this topic cannot be seen as a separate chapter in your ICAI study material. It falls within another chapter called capital structure. And I also told you the reason why I choose to separately discuss this topic is because of the examination importance. And after that, we got into the main discussion relating to understanding what this topic was all about. We understood why we started with EBIT. We understood why we landed at EPS, what was the logic, and we also finally concluded by saying that this is one way of looking at financing decisions and this is not the only way. In the following videos, we are going to be taking examples in the form of numerical problems, and we are going to be understanding how this analysis has to be done, and in doing so, we'll be learning a lot of concepts in this topic area.